Right, and we are live. It is a little early, but I thought I would log on in case anyone is here. If you are, please feel free to give us a little howdy in the comments, and then we'll wait a few moments before we get started. I am expecting a more intimate group today, which is great. It means more time for Q&A, more time to interact and to get to know each other. So please stay active in the comments. I think a couple of people excused themselves, but we should probably have about 20 to 30 people. So let me know if you are here. And I hope you had a chance to do your homework. And if anyone can hear my dog snoring in the background, please excuse her. She has a very flat nose, so she can't help herself. So I've just popped a little note in the comments, and I would love to hear from you if you are here and ready to get started. So just let us know who you are, where you're from, and perhaps even what you are hoping to get out of our session today. Welcome to anyone who's just joined us. I'm going to wait for a little longer. We've still got a minute or so before we kick off. But in the meantime, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Right, we are officially on time. So I am going to start kicking off because I do value your time, and I'm so glad that you've joined us today. Hello, Lauren. Welcome from Cape Town. Freelancing for 4 years, never looked back. Absolutely love it. As I was saying to those who are here a little early, we've got a smaller, more intimate group today, which is really great because it gives us a chance to interact, do some Q&A. So please feel free to write anything in the comments. I am going to be keeping an eye on them. And then I'll come back at the end and we'll have time for Q&A, just in case there's anything that I miss along the way. And welcome. And please, what we get out of this freelance community is collaboration and working together. So feel free to interact with one another in the comments, make new connections, chat to one another. I really want this to be quite interactive so that we can all get the most out of it and support one another. Lee, it is wonderful to have you. Starting your journey in a month's time. Yes, you told me via email. I'm so excited for you. Awesome. Barbara and Lambert from Cape Town, welcome. It's wonderful to have you guys with us. And please excuse me, I do have a bit of a cold, as you can probably hear in my voice. So sorry if the voice is a bit grating. Lene, it's lovely to have you. Thank you so much. Always looking for new, fresh ways to approach your workflow. That's awesome. And it's wonderful that even though you've been freelancing for 12 years, you are still looking for ways to keep improving, because as freelancers, as we know, you have to keep learning. You have to keep improving. Otherwise, you know, your business can fall fat and fall stale. So thank you so much and well done for coming. Okay, so we're 2 minutes in and I really don't want to waste any of your time. I want to make sure that everyone's getting the most out of this possible. So I am going to kick off. Please feel free, as I said, ask any questions in the comments. If I miss them now, we'll come back to them at the end. Jacqueline, so great to have you here. and it's wonderful to connect. We've been connecting on LinkedIn. Really great to have you. Okay, so officially, hello, welcome. Excuse the nose, excuse the dog that might snore. That's, work from home benefits. Oh, nice, Lambert. 24 years and still learning. It never stops, does it? It's fantastic. So I just want to say well done for making it here. Those who are just starting, those who are established, not everyone has what it takes to do hard things and make proactive changes. And you are one of the few. So pat yourselves on the back. I'm going to make my face a little bit smaller so that we can look at the slides over here. I hope that works for you. Welcome. If you've just joined us, I see we've got a couple of people who have just joined. Please feel free to introduce yourself in the comments. This is a small group, so we're going to keep it really interactive so we can get the most out of it. Right. So hello and welcome. Without further ado. So for me, taking control of my freedom has allowed me to do some cool things, like have the time to complete an Ironman, write my book, get interviewed by some of my favorite celebs like Gareth Cliff, and I've had my name published in almost every major publication in my home country in South Africa. And it's because I've been able to carve out the time to do so. But for me, it wasn't always this way. So when I first started freelancing, and I'm sure many of you share a similar journey, I said yes to pretty much everything that came across my desk, which resulted in me sending invoices that looked a little bit like this. As you can see, this is not an invoice that's going to make any freelancer rich very quickly at all. But, at the time, I thought things were going well. I had a lot of regular clients. I was making okay money. I had a steady pipeline of incoming leads. What more could I want as a freelancer? Well, I can tell you, freedom. So I was working hard, 10 to 14 hours at my desk all day, eating my breakfast, lunch, and dinner in front of my laptop. My family life was suffering. My social life was suffering. And it hit me. This was not the reason I became a freelancer. So I wanted to be able to spontaneously go out and meet a friend for lunch or go to the gym in the middle of the day, take a lunch break, for heaven's sake, write my book on the side, and actually just enjoy living my life, because that's why we're doing what we're doing. So I knew something had to change. And I decided to do that by focusing on 3 things. And these are the things we're going to work through today. We're going to do one tactic for each of these 3 pillars to try get you a little bit closer to your goals too. So for me, that looked like taking control of my time, streamlining my tools, and increasing my takings, my earnings. So today, I'm going to show you how to do the same. So these are the tactics that I've used over the years, and it's taken me about 6 years and sort of 2 years of very focused effort working on this to be able to earn over 55% more than when I first started freelancing. And this isn't by hustling or being chained to my desk, because I now actually work 20% less and I have time to do the cool things that I actually enjoy doing. So we don't have a lot of time today, but my goal is to give you simple strategies that will help you work smarter, not harder. So in our brief time today, I am going to do my A-level best to get you where you want to be. And because you're already here, I do have faith in you that you'll actually use these tools that I'm going to share with you. As I said, not everyone is proactive enough to make these kind of changes. So thank you for being here, and I believe in you. Lee agrees with me. She says, what we wanted most in life was freedom, financial freedom and freedom of time, 100%. And that's really changed the game for me. And welcome, Chanjat. So this is what we're going to be working on today. This is our goal. And I want you to stick around because I have a special surprise at the end for people who attend this masterclass, and only for you. So I'm going to give you my best. In return, a few things that I'm going to ask of you. Please take your cell phone right now, throw it across the room gently, or place it somewhere where it is out of your reach, out of distractions. This is actually something that's helped me become a lot more productive, is making sure that my phone isn't around me while I'm working, because even the mental, sorry, I'm getting a bit sidetracked here, but studies have shown that even having the phone near you, the resistance that you're having to use in the willpower derides your productivity. So if you can get that phone away from you, and I want you to imagine what it could look like to live your ideal freelance life. Sorry, it seems like my slides have got a little distorted on the screen here. Please just excuse those, and I'm sure the message will come across clearly regardless. So, as we work through this together, I want you to picture yourself implementing what I show you, because thoughts become your things. And as I said, I really want this to be interactive. So pop your questions and comments if we go along. If I happen to miss any of them, we'll catch up at the end, and we'll have some time for some Q&A. Right. So we're happy to move forward. We've got the intro out the way. We framed what we want to get out of this. We've got the housekeeping out the way, and let's get stuck in. So you've made it here, which is a great start. But I want you to think about what could possibly be holding you back. So some of the most common things, time. I mean, that's why we're all here today, right? So yes, working on yourself and working on your business takes time. And you might have to go through a phase in your life of not binging on your favorite Netflix shows, or not having the time to just sit and scroll through social media for hours on end. But those efforts will pay off in the long run. So the time that I invested in making myself a better freelancer has brought me that time back gazillions in the next years. So soon you'll be able to watch as much Netflix as you want. The irony is, when you don't have the time, that's the best time to focus on getting more of it. So I went from working these slogging 14-hour days to having productive, focused 6-hour days. And my income didn't suffer. In fact, it increased. So that brings me to the next fear, is money. If you think that your current financial position is preventing you from working in your business and moving forward, that is exactly why you need to be here today. Because if you don't make any changes, as you know, you can't expect a different result. And what about belief? Maybe this is a problem that you've tried to solve before, but you've never actually been successful. So why should this time be different? And I'm going to tell you why. It's because going it alone is hard. This time, I'm here with you. Our community is with you, and we are here to make good things happen in your life. And then probably the trickiest one of all is fear. So fear is often what holds you back from achieving your potential. I can help you with the time bit, the money bit, which is what we're working on today, but I'm going to need your help on the fear. So I know it's scary to step outside of your comfort zone, and it's easy to get stuck in one place, and that's where I was. But as we all know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So before I start with the how we're going to be working less and earning more, I want you to take some time and dig into your why, because it's your why that gives you the energy for the how. So why do you want more freedom? Why do you want to work smart? So when I started my journey towards working smart, I wanted more time to do the things I loved, but without sacrificing my income. And I wanted more freedom because, as I've said, that's why I became a freelancer in the first place. So I just wanted you to take a quick second to lock in your why. Why do you want to work smarter? Because without that, You don't have that guiding northern star. If you feel comfortable doing so, please share in the comments. I'd love to hear from you what it is that motivates you to want to work in a smarter way. And what does freedom mean to you? So I'll give you a sec to think about it. And I want you to write it down. Even if you're not going to write it in the comments, I want you to write it down somewhere, because it's amazing how when you've written something down, it gives action and purpose and impetus. So Jacqueline says, supporting her family with a comfortable lifestyle, which includes insurance, home, retirement savings, without sacrificing my time with them. And I think that's something that's shared by a lot of us, is living a comfortable, not excessive, but comfortable lifestyle with the people that we love. So please take the time now to lock yours in. Maybe it's for your family. Maybe it's to give you more time and money to give back to important causes. And maybe you have another big goal you're working on. So for me, being able to have the time to write my book was a massive goal that I needed time to work on. Leave flexibility to travel, yes, with my partner who runs a farm in a different province. So that's the amazing thing about freelancing, is you're able to make a lifestyle work for you. And, you know, if your partner has to be in a different province at different times, it's wonderful that you can then get the flexibility to work around that. Work, family, life balance. Be around family as much as at work, and quality life. These are all really great reasons. And I really urge you to, if you've written them down, put it somewhere in your notepad where you'll just see it every now and then, just to remind you that it's worth spending the time now to get to where you want to be. Okay, so now we've locked in our why. And again, please refer back to this as often as you need. And we're going to talk about what we're going to work through now. So we're going to optimize your time, tools, takings in a way that works for you. It's individual. Everyone has their own journey. I'm going to give you some ideas, but it's up to you to implement them. Now, the main takeaway is immediately, because we all have a bit of instant gratification, myself included, I would love it if you could work 1 hour less per day, starting right now, even while earning 10% more, and it can be done. And how to live the life of freelance freedom that we're talking about. And as Lambert says, just to make things more streamlined in our lives. So essentially, we're looking for more money in less time, because that opens up our freelance freedoms. So as I've mentioned before, the 3 pillars I've used to work towards freelance freedom is my time, streamlining my tools, and increasing my takings, what I earn. Now, there are a number of tactics I've used under each of these headings. We won't have time to work on all of them today, but what I'm going to do is take you through a simple 3-step process that I'm confident will help you achieve our goal today, which is working 1 hour less and earning 10% more. Okay, so first up, we're looking at time, your ideal day. So, sorry, and again, I apologize for the slides appearing a bit strange here. So to get more time, you have to make more time. And the better you use your time, the more time you have. So I hope you had a chance to fill in your daily planner. If not, I am going to pop the link in the comments. So hopefully that'll land up there. And you can just grab a copy of that if you haven't got it already. This is something that I wanted you to think about before we came into this. As I said, we don't have a lot of time, but I want you to be able to plan what that day of freedom looks like for you. So how will planning your day and incorporating your freelance freedom help you work towards your why. Remember, going back to your why. For example, if you said you wanted to work smarter to be able to spend more time with your loved ones, where exactly are you making the time for that in your schedule? Because I'm telling you now, if you're not making time for it, it's not going to happen. So this daily planner is a no holds barred, pretend like money is not an issue. What does that day of freelancing look like to you to give you the freedoms that we've just spoken about and the lifestyle that we dream of? So if you had an extra hour in the day that we're working towards right now, how would you use it? Feel free to pop your answer in the comments. So I'm sure a lot of you said you wanted to spend more time with family. So perhaps that's where you spend your extra hour. Maybe you want to get fit. So that extra hour will give you an hour in the gym. Maybe you want to learn a new skill. Maybe you want to do something like write a book or work on your business. Whatever it is, I think we can all agree that having an extra hour in our day would be very welcome. And please excuse me if you haven't heard before, I've got a bit of a cold, so the voice is a bit dodgy. And just gonna have a sip of water. Okay, so Jacqueline says she started blocking off family time on her calendar. Amazing. So it's concrete, and I see it every time I check my new tasks. That is so powerful. I can't highlight enough how actually blocking the time makes it more likely that it's going to happen. So well done, Jacqueline. That's awesome. Okay, so hopefully you've got your day planned out. If not, you can work on it now or work on it a bit later. And of course, every day is different, but this is just to give you an idea of what freedom looks like to you. So here's an example of mine. I like to take time for personal projects and passions, like doing things like this, sharing my knowledge with my fellow freelancers. And then I schedule my focused work during my most productive hours, which for me is generally early-ish in the morning. I need exercise, keeps me sane. Can always tell if I've had a day without exercise because I get kind of grumpy. And then white space to fill with whatever I fancy that day, which is so underrated. And I think a lot of us tend to schedule, and then forget that life happens. Sometimes you might need to go outside and sit in the garden for half an hour in order to come back to your desk more productive. So including white space is important. Reading, which I see as a writer is part of my business obligations. And luckily, I absolutely love doing it too. And then spending time with friends, connections, family, my husband. You know, at the end of the day, work's not going to be at your funeral, and no one looks back and says, I wish I'd worked harder. So what are the things you need to put into your day? Lee says, learning an extra skill. That's awesome. Study project management. And it's amazing how putting it in your diary and scheduling that focused time can actually make it happen. Okay, so we've planned out, or you're going to plan out, what that day looks like to you, hypothetically, of course. Now, the next question is, how do we actually make it happen? So time, we've spoken about planning our ideal day. Now we're going to talk about the tool that we're going to use to make our ideal day a reality. And we've already touched on it a bit. So one of my favorite tools out there, and it's a super simple one, is calendar blocking. So before I started calendar blocking, I would only schedule my meetings in my calendar, which I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you have a similar process. So what that meant is I was actually the rest of the day just kind of winging it. I'd maybe have a to-do list written down on a piece of paper, maybe have some things in my diary, but I didn't have that structure. And I would also take on far too much work thinking I'd have the time to do it, because if it's written down on a list and not blocked out as hours, you know, you don't actually know how long it's going to take you. So a turning point for me came actually by accident when I started using another one of my favorite tools, which is Calendly, worth looking into. Write that one down if you're not already using it. So basically what Calendly is it syncs with your calendar. So I use Google Calendar to show when you're available. And then it allows people to block meetings in those slots. So, I mean, we all know how irritating it is when you're going back and forth with someone trying to get a meeting time and they suggest a time you can't make it. And that is a massive waste of time. So Calendly helps streamline that process. So instead of going back and forth, you can just send a link and they book with you. I have the free version, which is fine for me for now, but you can certainly scale up if you need to with the paid version. Any case, Calendly, write it down if you haven't already. So Calendly is great, unless you're not actually available at the time when someone books a meeting with you, i.e. if your calendar is empty, people can book with you at any time. So when I started using Calendly, I realized that I actually needed to be a bit more intentional and block out the times when I wasn't available, not just my meetings. And then something interesting happened along the way. As I plotted out the time I needed to do my regular work, I realized why I was feeling so stressed and overwhelmed, because I actually didn't have enough time in the day to do what I'd committed to do. So when I blocked out my to-do list and how long it would take me, I had no extra time left. So no wonder I felt like I was always scrambling and chasing my tail. Jacqueline, you also loves Calendly. Oh, it is the bomb. Yeah, free version is great for our purposes, for most of us. So I realized, no wonder I'm feeling like I'm feeling, but I had to see it in front of me to actually realize, and it hit home. So now what I do is I make sure that I have time for my personal tasks, meetings, regular work, ad hoc commitments, feeding the dog. So I know how much time I actually have, and I'm more structured about the way I spend my day and making time for the things that matter. So basically, taking my daily planner and making sure that it's becoming a reality on my calendar. So I want to make this an actionable session. Perhaps some of you are already doing this. Maybe you have some tips to share that you can put in the comments. But I would love you to pull up your favorite calendar app right now and take one of the items from your daily planner and map it in your calendar right now. One of the most important things. Perhaps it's that freelance freedom item from your calendar, or working on that new skill, whatever it may be. So pop that in now. And then later you can go back and work on it a bit more. So Jacqueline, how far in advance do I time block? I make sure that it's at least a week ahead. The nature of my work is I often have regular tasks that I have to do on a weekly basis. So I make sure that those are all scheduled in, or I schedule time for that client for my regular work. So I know that I have certain deliverables for that client, and I make sure that I schedule the time for them well ahead. A lot of my tasks are recurring because I also find that having some kind of routine really helps too, that this is my day to work on X client. This is my day for meetings. This is my day for whatever it is. I also have personal things that I do on a weekly basis. So my Pilates class, that obviously doesn't change. So that stays in the calendar on a recurring basis. So I think the easier you can make it for yourself by getting into a routine, I find that really helps me. And then I can see, okay, I've got white space to take on some extra work here. So take a sec now and please just open up your favorite calendar and put one thing in there. And then your homework after this session will be to go and see how you can block and make it a little bit more strategic. So I'd really do urge you to spend that time planning, blocking to help you manage your capacity, because and make sure you schedule in enough leeway. And it does take a bit of a learning curve sometimes, how long things are going to take you, and there is a bit of give and take, but eventually you get the hang of it, and it does really work out in the end. But just I would ensure also to include some white space. And I'm actually giving more step-by-step details about calendar blocking, prioritizing your time in my new course, my Work Less, Earn More course, which I'm going to tell you a bit about later. So we get even deeper into how to make the most of your calendar. Okay, so I'm going to move on now. As we know, there's more to achieving your freelance freedom than just mapping it out on a calendar. Let's talk about the third pillar, which is takings, the money, which can be a very fraught area of freelancing, but it doesn't have to be. So now that you have a better grip on your time, how do you make sure you have the income to support it? Essentially, how do you earn more while working less? So, I'm no mathematician, but I think the equation is pretty simple. If you use time management that we've spoken about and tools like calendar blocking and a range of other streamlining tools, you can get more done in less time. I'd also like to add to that being very focused. You get more done in less time, which means you're getting a better average hourly rate. So even if you're not charging by the hour, by working smarter, you're getting more done in less time, which equals a better average hourly rate. Now we can take that to the next level. You can get paid more on top of it, then it's an even better average hourly rate. Hope it's making sense. So before we go any further, I want to emphasize that I'm not saying you should be charging by the hour. Anyone who knows me knows that I am completely anti-charging by the hour. We can chat about it later if you have any questions. I mean, why punish yourself for becoming more efficient? But we won't get into that now because I could talk about that for a long time, and I do cover it extensively on my course. So when we talk about your effective or average hourly rate, it's just our way to measure that you're working smarter, right? Okay, so are you working for your hours and earning more money? I just needed to get that out the way. Lena, I've just seen your question now about how do you handle clients that need something last minute or urgently that you haven't planned for. That's where I make sure that I've got some white space in my calendar where I can slot those in. Right. Okay. So we're not charging by the hour, but we're going to use that as sort of a benchmark and a measure. Right. So I'm just going to put the link to your current rates calculator in the comments in case you haven't had a chance to do it as part of your homework. And you can just click through on that to work out right now, what is that benchmark that we're looking to improve? So I hope you use some kind of time tracking software. That's another important tool. If you're not, please add it to your list immediately. The only way to take control of your time is to actually track it. And it's with the apps that are out there these days, it's really simple. I use Toggle, which is great. Clockify is another one. There are plenty. I'll just put those. Toggle for time tracking, and it's free, which we love always. Sorry, it's actually Toggle without the E. I hope you had a chance to do this as part of your homework and you know what that average hourly rate is that you're working on right now. So the hours that you're working right now, we want to bring that down. And I bet your ideal freelance day that we worked on in your daily planner has fewer hours than that. So how are we going to make this work, and how are we going to make your ideal day profitable too? So reducing your hours, but earning the same or even more. Okay, so your daily plan told you how many hours of billable work you want to do every day. So you've included the things that bring you freedom, and then you've included your time for focused work. So for me, it's about 6 hours or so, 4 to 6 hours. So next up, we're going to calculate how much money you need to make on average per hour to support that. So I'm going to put the link to another calculator in the comments. And this is the calculator we're going to use right now. Okay, it's over there. So if you can click through and scroll down to the calculator part. And now we're going to enter what that ideal day looks for us. So how many hours of billable work you want to do every day. And then we're going to work out how much money you actually need to make per hour to support that. Because it's all well and good to say, oh, I'm going to work less. But as a freelancer, we know we need that to equate to better earnings too. So click through on that calculator. Now, I'll give you a couple of seconds. You're going to enter your desired working hours based on the daily planner, your holiday time, other days off, and then how much you actually want to make per month. And this figure, it can take into account all your expenses. So make it, the easiest way to do it is to make it sort of a total figure of expenses. And then you'll see how much you need to be making per hour to support your freelance freedom. So I'm really interested, once you've had a chance to do that, to hear how your freelance freedom rate, you don't have to give me the figures, but have you still got a ways to go? How does it compare to what you are currently, your average currently hourly rate? Let me know in the comments if there's a bit of a disconnect, if you need to perhaps increase your rates. I'm very curious to hear what that number looks like for you. Because a lot of freelancers forget that it's all well and good to earn a certain amount per month, but unlike an employee, you're not being paid for time off, your tools, holiday time. You're only as good as the time and the billable hours that you have. So that's why it's so important to take multiple factors into account when you're looking at your freelance rate. I'll give you another few seconds. So I'm guessing that a couple of you might have some work to do before what you are earning matches what you're looking for in your ideal freelance life. And that's okay. That's part of the journey. And it's something that we're always working towards. So Jacqueline says, the calculator confirmed that I need to increase my rates a little to get to my monthly income goals. It's part of my Q2 strategy. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that that also gave you the validation that that's something that you need to do. Because also another thing that as freelancers do is we tend to underprice or undervalue ourselves. But when you see those numbers in front of you in black and white, it becomes clearer that you need to charge what you deserve. Otherwise, why are we doing this? Okay, so Lambert's asking about our billable work hours. One thing, we spend much time on admin, quotes, invoicing, meetings. Should we be including that in our working hours? So those hours that you can't necessarily charge for, I wouldn't include in your, I guess, I suppose you will have to include that in your calculator, and then you'll need to make sure, because this is your average hourly rate, you'll need to make sure that you're making enough in your focused work time to cover off on that admin time. Something also to consider, Lambert, maybe down the line is a virtual assistant. There's a lot of amazing freelance virtual assistants who might be able to free up some of that time for you so that you can spend it on work that actually earns you money. But yes, put your total figure in. And then we know that even though you're not being billed for that, you're not able to bill for that, it's being counted into the equation. Okay, so I'm going to move on and we're going to work on how we make the more money that we need. So look, there are a number of ways to make more money. And I cover on most of those in my course, or in a lot of those in my course, my Work Less, Earn More course. But for now, in the limited time we have left, I'm conscious we only have 20 minutes left. We're going to focus on the easiest and quickest way to make more money right now. So, number one, raise your rates. And yes, I am saying it in red. If you don't raise your rates, fact, you are just getting poorer. Now, I want you to be honest. Type yes in the comments if any of these statements apply to you. Are you charging the same as you were when you started freelancing? Are you charging less than your competition? Are you hearing yes to your proposals too often, which means you're too cheap? Are you working constantly at full capacity? You are fully booked always. Are you struggling with your work-life balance? Are you feeling unmotivated and just over it? And did you last raise your rates over a year ago? If any of those apply to you, own up. It's okay. We've all been there. But it is time to reconsider your rates. And the amazing thing is all you can do is ask. So we've covered using time management and tools, right, to make us more streamlined, better average hourly rate. Now we're talking about getting paid more for that even better average hourly rate. I'm seeing a lot of yeses coming through, and that's okay. I'm the same. I must be honest, I think I do have a client that I haven't raised my rates in a year, and I know I need to. So the easiest way is to ask. So this is Tilly. She is a fellow freelancer, and she used one of my rates email templates to ask her clients for an increase. And guess what? It worked. She ended up giving me a special shout out, and she went out to celebrate. On that note, celebrating your successes as a freelancer is really important. You don't have the big Christmas party and the incentives and employee of the month. So I urge you, when something goes right in your business, celebrate it. You know, it's part of what we need to do to keep ourselves going. Anyways, I don't want to get too ahead. And then another freelancer, Taylor. So she used my template, and as a result of the last masterclass I did, she also took my course, and she asked her client for an increase, but she hadn't done so for 3 years because she felt like, this client isn't doing that well. I feel bad to ask. So she hadn't asked for a rates increase for 3 years. But then my course reminded her, and she ended up getting not just like a 10% increase, but a 50% increase. So the truth is, you can't make assumptions, and you don't know how much your clients have available and how much they value you. And the truth is that if you're a valuable service provider, your clients will be happy to pay you more, but you never know until you ask. Remember, it's a lot easier for them to retain a good freelancer than it is to go ahead and find a new one. So please have the confidence and don't make assumptions about what they can or can't afford. So my challenge to you, to raise your rates for one of your clients today. Alternatively, to raise the fees from one of your packages or a project fee, whatever it is, I dare you. In fact, I command you to do it today. So if you are happy to commit to that, please just type us a little yeehaw, yes, whatever in the comments. The reason I'm asking you to do this is because committing to something, even if it's someone you're never going to speak to again or whatever, it really, in your brain, our brains are so simple, it makes it that it's more likely to happen. So if you are willing to take on the challenge, I would love to hear from you. And I'm also happy to send you an email template. I've got a very brief one here. I don't want to have to spend too much time on that. So feel free to send me an email and I can pop this to you if that's easier, and you can just copy paste. But something I want you to remember is that you are not asking for an increase. Employees ask for an increase. Freelancers inform of an increase. I mean, when you go to the shops, you're not, the supermarket isn't asking you if they can increase the price of the butter or the steak. They're just putting a new price tag on it and you have to pay it. Obviously, your relationships with your clients are a little bit different. There's a little bit more emotion and nuance to it. But remember, this is a notification, not a request. Okay, so if you'd like me to send that to you, there's my email address, and I will happily send you that template. But I would really like you to, in fact, put it in your calendar because if it's in your calendar, you're going to make it happen. So schedule yourself however long you need and put it in there. So a question from Aiden. He says, would you still be raising your rates if you're underemployed and don't have enough work? And I understand this is a challenge for a lot of freelancers. So if you do need to be competitive, but you don't want to get stuck in a cycle of having work that's underpaying you. So what I recommend is just make sure that you're hitting sort of that base number that you need and try first to get work that's actually going to pay you that number. Otherwise, it's easy to get stuck in cycles of not being paid enough and clients who don't pay enough. And then the problem is you don't have enough time to actually look for better paying work. So that was me. I was super busy, but I wasn't charging enough. So I was working really hard and not really being remunerated accordingly. And I'd got to the point where I was underemployed, but then I got too busy because I was charging too little. But then because I was so busy with all that client work, I didn't actually have time to chase higher paying clients or have the mental capacity and energy to focus on working on my business and making sure that I was finding higher paid clients. So look, you've got to do what you've got to do to survive, but just make sure that you always have the time to work on your business and be looking and prospecting for clients who are going to pay you more. Okay, so that's our challenge. So we've covered 3 simple things. We only had a short time today, but I've taken you through a quick process of envisioning what your freelance freedom means to you, writing down your why, prioritizing the time to work on that in your calendar, and then making sure you're earning enough to support your ideal lifestyle. So now this, and sorry, I don't want to get too distracted, but Lambert makes such a great point that if you don't value your own worth, your clients won't either, which is so true. And often, and I'm sure many freelancers can agree, the easiest clients to work with are the ones who pay you the most, and the ones who pay you the least are the ones who really can grate you and suck your time and your energy, and they've got to go. So, right, so this is what we've worked on today. And of course, this is literally scratching the surface. There's so much more we can get into to help you work smarter, work less, and earn more. And I've got a lot of free resources on my website to help you. I'm also very responsive on email and happy to help on LinkedIn or wherever you may find me. So I want to go back to that imagine part that I asked you to do. So imagine how it would feel if you had all these 3 elements under control and you could live the life of your dreams. What would that freedom look like to you? Remember your why, it's written down. And I know that these things are worth working on because I was there. I was stuck in the grind, on that treadmill, working weekends, letting my health suffer and it took me over time, but I figured out the strategies that would buy me more freedom, more money, and fewer hours of work. It took me 6 years, but if you follow some of these steps, you can soon be working an hour less and earning 10% more, and potentially even more as you keep getting better and better at it. So I want you to picture that. What does that look like for you? What would you be spending your time on if you were working less and earning more? So I want you to picture yourself and envision what that freelance freedom looks like to you. You've prioritized the time in your calendar. You're making sure that you're earning enough. So I would love to know where you're at now. Let me know in the comments if you can see yourself using what I showed you to help build the life of your dreams. And was this helpful for you today? Would you like to spend even more time together, going a little bit deeper into finding your freelance freedom? Let me know. And I hope that this sort of sequential process helped. Awesome. Jacqueline says she's motivated. I'm so glad. Okay. So before doing this webinar today, I had two choices. Option one, I was just going to dump this all on you. We part ways, and I hope that you make a go of it and become successful, right? Option two, I could take a more active role and responsibility for your success and create a situation which will allow me to do everything I possibly can to help you succeed. So I chose option two. And that's why I've actually created my Work Less, Earn More course. And that goes deeper into those 3 pillars of freelance freedom, as I like to call them. And this gives you more details about the specific strategies that'll help you make more money in less time as a freelancer and realize the freedom that we've been dreaming of. So the course uses my 3 pillars of freelance freedom to help you get off the ground and actually start living like a business owner that you want to be. I've made the mistakes for you. I've gone back to the drawing board and I've come up with this simple method so that you don't have to. So let me tell you what's included in the course. We've got 4 training modules where we learn how to use the 3 pillars and take it to the next level and earn more money in less time, step by step. You can expect bite-sized lessons. Each one is a 5-minute video, a recap, and then there's an actionable activity or download for you. Plenty of downloads and resources, workbooks, checklists, prompts to keep you going on this journey. And you get lifetime access to all the course content. You can go back, refer it anytime. Ideally, I would say you want to complete it in 4 weeks so that you can get the most benefit. Offer 100% money back guarantee. This is for you. I want you to get the most of it. And then there's over $300 worth of bonus content and resources to keep you going and supplement your business growth. So those bonuses, 30 minutes one-on-one with me, so I can give you real personalized advice. There's a free social media lesson from social media manager Kirsten Holland and a free template to plan your social media content. There's how to fuel for your focus with a registered dietitian. And I've got my checklist of must-have freelancer safety nets, which is an important part to make sure that you are always supporting your business. And then we've got our Facebook community group where we're there to keep one another accountable. So in a nutshell, this course works you through step by step everything I did to work 20% less and earn 55% more. So Taylor, who went through my course, she's been able to implement some of these steps and it's really made a big difference. So obviously it's not free. There's an investment involved. Look, I could coach you on all this good stuff one-on-one, but I'd rather reach more people. And when I worked it out, one-on-one coaching to take you through hours and hours of this would just be ridiculous. So the other option is let me do it as a course. I can spread the word, get it to more people, and you pay less. And you pay even less because you're on this masterclass. And in fact, even less for the first 5 people. So South Africans, you can email me for the rate in rands. This is the rate in dollars. The rate in rands takes our currency conversion into account. So it's a lot less. So if you're interested, do email me after this. And what I've actually done is for this masterclass only, this price is available right now because you were here to join. As I said, I've got a little surprise for you. because you were here and joined us today, if you click that link, let me put you a link to the course where you can learn more. But for the next half an hour, so until we finish up today, the discount will be available. South Africans, you can just email me and I will send you a coupon code. So yeah, check that out if you're interested, and know that there is a guarantee. You can get your money back, and this is my promise to you. So we don't have a lot of time left. I would like to get stuck into some Q&A, not more maths. I can let you know the maths, but basically you'll pay off this course in the 4 weeks if you implement the steps. So just know that along with the money back guarantee, if you take the time and do the work, the course will be paid off in a month. Okay. So I would love to hear your questions, anything that's holding you back right now, anything specifically about the course that you want to learn, or what's stopping you from getting your discount right now. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Lee, Lene. I really appreciate. Yeah. Definitely some areas you can improve on. If you want to keep improving, the course is where it's at. Thank you, Lambert. It was wonderful to have you, and I'm so excited for your new business and your new ventures. And like I said, I'm really accessible. I'm here for my fellow freelancers, and the course is here to take your freelancing to the next level and to keep working on those tactics. If you're worried, thanks, Jacqueline. It was so great to have you here. If you're worried about what you have to pay for the course, don't, because you're in my masterclass, you're getting a huge discount. And also, it's an investment in your business that will pay off for the long run. I'm taking everything I've done in 6 years, condensed it for you, and made it a lot easier for you to get from A to B. And if you're anything like me, I really value the freedom that I have now, the financial freedom and the freedom to do the things that I love. And I think that's so important for us as freelancers. So a couple of FAQs that I often get: how long will the course take? Like I said, you've got lifetime access. I recommend doing it in 4 weeks so that you can get the most benefit and straight away be working less and earning more. And yeah, if you have any questions, there is a 30-minute one-on-one with me as a bonus. So yeah, head over to the link or send me an email if you're from South Africa, and we've got another half an hour for you to take advantage of that special. That's for the masterclass only, never to be repeated. The price will go up thereafter. Thank you so much to everyone for joining and for participating. It's been wonderful, and I look forward to staying in touch with you. I will stay on the line here. Feel free to, if you still have any questions, pop them in. Otherwise, if you've got lunch or dinner to make, or you've got a course to quickly sign up for before the going's gone, please do go for it. But I'll be around for the next few minutes if you'd like to have any private questions or shared on the stream. Thanks, Dom. Really glad to have you on board and really proud of everyone who rocked up today. Okay, I am going to log off. Remember, you only have the next half an hour if you want to take advantage of the special masterclass and keep working on your business. If not, do follow me on LinkedIn and let's stay in touch. This is something that I'm really passionate about. So thank you so much for joining me. And have a wonderful rest of your Thursday, everyone.